Hey, what is up? We are literally like a couple of hours away from the match, and you know, I come from it with a very different perspective than I used to. Whereas I used to be like, well, whether I win this next match is going to determine, you know, whether I be happy for the next, I don't know, 2 months or so, right? Like, it was the only thing that mattered. I never saw, this might sound funny, but if you're an athlete of some sort, you get this, where you see the match that you have tomorrow, next week, the next day, or that morning, and you're like, you don't care about what happens after. You don't give a crap. Obviously, when the match finishes, you're like, all right, what's next, right? But for right now, you're just zoned in, 1,000,000% focused on playing that match. I come from it now with the same nerves. Like, I remember, I know this morning I took a dump twice, and you know, these kind of emotions come up a bit more. And when I get anxious or when I'm unsure or there's uncertainty in my stomach, I tend to go to the toilet a lot more. So those things still exist after, you know, 5 years of competing, and I still very much just crave that stuff. I love it. And now though, I come from it with a more perspective where not all my self-worth is on the line, because I'm able to see past that. You know, having done more personal development work on my mind, I'm able to see past that. But it was a critical step to be able to have a sport where it's like, this match that's about to happen means everything to me. So in a lot of ways, I'm able to enjoy it in a more just I love competing way, rather than I have to win or else the last 6 months of training or the last year of training was pointless. Like, I'm more out here to have fun. But for me, when elite athletes finish and they say I want to have fun, people think that it's just like easy going, like you're going to the golf course and having a few swings. No, fun for me is running around. It is screaming come on after a good shot. It is being in the zone. It is working your ass off. That is still the kind of competing that I love. And I don't ever see myself stopping, even when, you know, my person recording is going to laugh now, but even when my hair turns grey and I'm really old. I told you she's going to laugh. But you know, this sort of stuff coming from a wiser perspective, I'm able to just take in the feelings, not be like, oh, why do I feel this weird feeling in my stomach? Why do I feel this? Why do I feel that? Oh my God, what's wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with you. You're a human being that feels these emotions. Now, let's actually be happy that I feel them, because if I didn't, then there'd be nothing that actually gets me excited to wake up. Speaking of wake up, I did have good sleep last night. If you're someone who, like in every sport, you're going to play morning matches, you're going to play matches that sometimes are at like starting at 8 p.m, right? Whether you are a morning person or a night person. I know my friend and boss who I work with, Mark's going to laugh at this, but Asians tend to have much more of a, you know, a wake up later, sleep later kind of mentality. So 10 a.m. is still very early for them. You know, so you look at the Australian Open, you look at, the hot whatever sport, right? You're going to have morning matches, you're going to have night matches in your quest to become a pro or the best you can be. So either way, if like me, you probably feel like crap in the mornings. If it's a 9 a.m. match, that doesn't mean 9 a.m. wake up. It means 6 a.m. wake up and eat your breakfast and really make sure you're fueled. You've had enough time to actually wake up and get into your senses and be alert. Even though you're not going to be at 100%, you know, you want to be as alert as possible. And have your coffee if that's what you like, and really have time to get to the venue, get, you know, warm up ideally on the table or on the court that you're going to play on, and then jump out there and you're ready to explode. You're ready from point one to absolutely destroy anyone that comes in your way. So yeah, that's definitely a part that you want to get right. And look, on the other end, if it's a really big tournament and you can't sleep, this is something when I first dealt with this, I worried a lot. I was like, oh my God, I've only got 3 hours sleep. I'm going to lose tomorrow. Actually, no, because the adrenaline that you feel, the higher you deem the tournament to be of importance, the more you're going to have adrenaline, and this is going to carry you through. This is where people think pressure's a bad thing, right? But pressure's actually everything has positives and negatives, right? If you approach and you reframe pressure in your mind, like your mind is literally that powerful, that you're like, okay, pressure actually helps me be in the moment. Pressure actually helps me focus. Pressure actually helps me when I'm leading to not get relaxed and just like blow that lead away. Because you'll notice if you just totally relax, you may hit some shots that you know, are like, wow, because you have a freer arm, a freer body. You might do some things that are like, oh wow, I probably can't really do that as well when I'm tight. However, if you actually play a full match, you'll notice that you tend to have much more lapses of concentration. So is pressure a bad thing? Well, I think there's a lot of good things about it. And when I say I think, I don't say I think, I know, because I've been there and I've experienced it. And it's actually helped me win a lot of matches. But when I tell this stuff to parents, they're like, no way. Yeah, because it's an uncomfortable feeling, but that doesn't mean it's bad, right? So if you can't sleep the night before a big match, ask any other Olympic athlete. Ask, I don't know, like you'll hear these guys, like you'll hear Roger Federer and Djokovic isn't as open about it, but you'll hear Federer's quite open about this one. Like when he had the Australian Open final at 7:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, right? The whole day was hell. It's always before the match that you're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to win? Is today the day that I'm going to run into trouble and my opponent's going to play too good for me? And he would say, well, once he actually started, it's not that bad because you're in the zone. You're in control of what plays you choose. Once it's over, you obviously know if you've won or lost, so then it's fine. But before the match, it's definitely uneasy in the gut. You know, after the tournament, you're gonna sleep like a baby. That's an absolute guaranteed. But yeah, don't. The stressing about the fact that you're stressing, that's the biggest killer than anything else, because it then goes you divert to this negative, I call it the negative feedback loop, where you're like, well, I'm thinking all these negative, quote unquote negative thoughts, right? That means I'm not normal. That means this is bad, and I'm in this situation again. And oh my god, I'm gonna break down because that's what I always do. When that's the story you tell yourself, and because you told yourself that's what I always do, guess what actually happens when you go out there and do it? That actually happens because you've already pictured that happening in your head, rather than like, I love pressure, I love this feeling. It's always gonna happen. So I always play well when it happens, right? Imagine if that's what you tell yourself. Does that mean that you're always going to play every match well? No, but at least you don't have to overcome the hurdle of like, oh, every time pressure comes, I buckle. It sounds funny, right? But you kind of induce that on yourself. So anyway, let's get back to. I'll show you guys some of the practice things that I'm going to do when I'm there, and just show you guys basically the most effective way to prepare for a match. Match starts at 1. We are a little bit off schedule, which is no one else's fault but my own, and we'll make the most of that time. So usually what I like to do, I like to have a bit of time, like 30 to 45 minutes hit, if I'm going to be ready from, let's say, 1 o'clock the match. That doesn't mean arrive at 1 o'clock for ideal performance. That means, it's a funny thing, because you, as a good athlete, you should have the ability to go out there at 1 o'clock and still be good, right? The whole myth of I need to warm up is a bit bullshit. Like, if you were to jump out and play Novak in a game of tennis, he would beat you without a warm up. I'm pretty sure of that. However, if he was to play someone close to his level, that extra 3 to 5 or 10% can make a huge difference. Because in that lack of warm up could be something that, you know, within the first set, he's a bit sloppy, he's a bit off, he's a bit he's lacking a bit of confidence on the day with his shots. And that's the thing, right? Confidence can be also something that wavers slightly throughout day by day. So you definitely want to be out there warming up and getting a feel. But again, you're not there to tire yourself out. You're there to get a feel for things, get your shots warmed in, know how you feel that day, know what adjustments you may need to make when you get out there, and what's working, what's not. For the most part, if you have an inbuilt skill set, it should just work, right? But you should have that feel that I feel good on it today. That's what you want to get out. That's the point of a warm-up. If the temperature's cold, yeah, you want to jump out there with your blood flowing and your body more warm, but today's not cold, right? So actually today's 30 degrees, so the hotter it gets, the better, because then I'm like, well, unless the opponent trains on these days, I've definitely got an advantage. But yeah, we'll show you guys what that looks like. I've planned 45 minutes, and then I usually plan half an hour to take a dump if I really need to, and eat something if I really want to, and when I feel the hunger. Hunger's something that, you know, your hunger cues can be off when you're feeling anxiety, pressure, stress. But you certainly do need to eat, because you can have moments where you're like, I can't concentrate. You haven't got enough fuel in you. So I'm always conscious of that and trying to get enough fuel. Either way, we'll see you then, and here's some of our warm-up. So I've arrived at the venue. You see me warming up. I don't have all the clips because I've actually lost them, but you see my favorite shot, my strength is to hit a wide ball and then coming for the volley like I just did, right? So I'm warming all these things up, as well as my weaknesses. Any possible thing that could come up in the match that I'm going to want to use in the match that my opponent could try to pick on me with, any possible thing that could come up. You know, the nature of tennis, big serves, kicking second serves, lobs, short balls, everything here I'm going to try and practice it. Because on the day, my goal is not to improve certain skill sets. It's just to get ready and build my confidence on the day of what could come up and be mentally sharp and ready. Here's not a time where I can improve any skill sets, but you'll see I'm sharpening up on what I already have, right? Because then I'm maximizing it. Smashing, serving, second serving, return a serve. You see here serving and then the next ball. Things that are important. Serving and the next ball after the serve is really important because it's a tug of war. You're trying to get control of the point before your opponent does. And the opponent's also trying to do the same thing. So you see here I'm practicing a 1-2. Right, coach is returning my serve after a big one. I'm trying to put it away. Here, okay, my diving volley could have been better, but that's not something I can improve then and there. Just move on. Imagine how I would put it away next time, right? Imagine what I had to do different, which is slightly angle, maybe even leave the ball, might have gone out, or angle my racket more towards the court, right? But if I want to improve that skill set, it's consistency, right? I'd have to actually spend time in the practice arena. So I just move on, right? You see me, I'll practice the same play again. Next one, I will ace them, but if that happened in a match, great, then it's just an ace. Right, you don't see these here, but my opponents, or my practice partner, who's my coach here, is also giving me every possible thing that could come up. Match time's here, and I'm ready. I'm warm. I'm ready to go. I'm fighting. I'm looking for solutions. So I play a player who's ranked just below me. He's got a huge serve, and you'll see here things like a second serve are super important because throughout the 3.5 hours we played, I won a close 2-1 match. I only double faulted 6 times, which is incredible considering most players will double fault at least half the time, right? It's amazing when you really think about it. The pros double fault like once a match. So I'm hustling him here. He's a big guy who doesn't really move well. And I picked that up from the very start of the game. So then I'm trying to execute my tactics. I know what works by this point of the moment. It's like the second set. I serve a big serve. He gives me an open ball. He's keeping balls in, but I'm just hustling him away. And I know that at some point he can't out-rally me. So either I'm going to use my forehand and come in for the volley if I see him struggling, or I'm just going to outgrind him. You'll see here the point of the second serves. I don't make a lot of first serves in. That's just something that you're never going to... The pros get it in about 70% of the time on a really good day. So you've got to have a good second serve to back things up. It's just how... It's interesting because I pick these things up very quick, even though I'm not a tennis pro, because I know that having been a tennis Olympian, what it takes to succeed in a sport, how to become good at a sport. There are a lot of similarities. Now, it's not sexy to have a great second serve, but it's important. Because then see here, after a good first serve, it's rare that you'll ace them, but you do see here, after a good first serve, I get a lot of short opportunities, and you got to get good at putting away these opportunities. A lot of good young players have huge first serves, but then because they only warm up big, little nuanced things like running in and putting away a short ball, it's something that's new for them. It's foreign. They don't practice it. Whereas the elite level players, they know you don't want to practice it. And then in a match, you're not going to lose these sort of cheap points that you really should be winning. You see me do an underarm here. I don't take the piss. It's just the underarm is a fantastic tactic because I've got a reasonably big first serve. And if people are stepping back and back, it's a great tactic. I would rather win at someone say, oh, why did the underarm serve? Than not use it when it's a good tactic in fear of what people say. And when you think about it, right, we drop shot and people go, wow, what a good drop shot. So why does an underarm serve, why is it so stigmatized? It's something that I never understand, and it's something that it's not going to stop me from doing it. Right, I'm out here to win the match. I'm not purposely trying to disrespect people, but see, I get a short ball here, I put it away. Bullski. So this was a match that I thought about for a month. Like I knew I was going to play this match, and for a month I've been really excited, nervous, anxious, you name it. Now, how did I go about this and deal with this so effectively like I always do? It's experience, right? The more you play matches, I love competing one-on-one with people and you don't know if you're going to win or lose. I love that. Close matches, not knowing if you're going to come out the other side winning or losing, right? And these emotions that come with that, I love it, right? So I've become really good at that. Now, very early on in the game, I'm trying to figure out who is this guy in front of me? I see he has a very big serve. So he won the first 2 games like quite convincing. I'm like, geez, I'm gonna have to really like just try and chip as many balls back as possible. Let's see what he does after the serve. Because it's unlikely he's just gonna be acing me throughout the whole best of 3 match. Right, in a best of 3 sets, unlikely that he's gonna be acing me the whole time. So he's a big dude, he's got a big serve, he's got big shots. He probably doesn't move that well. If he did, he'd probably be like a top level professional, but he's not. He's ranked just below me and he's playing these tournaments with us. So with my game, I'm a good mover, I'm a good grinder, I'm a mental hustler. I have a reasonably big serve, but I'm not someone who they look at and go, wow, his shots are so big, so let's outgrind him. So I am someone that people go, wow, your shots are really spinny. So I'm trying to get as many balls deep as possible to just draw as many errors from him. And he is funny enough, someone who, if you jam him in here, he's got a crunching forehand for a winner. And you may look at it, and my teammates, at 1 set all, I'm like, what do I do? Like, when I say what do I do, it's not like a defeated, it's what should I do to win this match? Should I continue what I'm doing? What are the strategies? And they would all in fear go, they mean well, these are lovely blokes, right? They're like, oh, you got to stay away from his forehand, it's so dangerous. But when I actually dig deeper, like being the experienced mindsetter of an elite athlete that I am, I'm like, okay, no, he does have a really dangerous forehand when you play here. And if I keep doing that, I could lose this match, right? In another sense, I don't back him to do this for another 2 hours against me. I think he's not going to be able to keep this up. Even better, I figured out, I'm like, I look at the past points, I'm like, he's missed every ball when the ball's right at him, he misses. When the ball's jammed, he hits winners. And this normally sounds funny because when the ball's jammed in you, it should be harder, technically, right? But this guy liked moving around and hitting that inside-out forehand at me. And I was really struggling, and I didn't want to keep doing that. When I could just give him open forehand balls that were deep and had enough quality, and he just miss it for me, like 4 out of 5. He might hit one winner every now and then that you're like, oh crap. But statistically speaking, you're going to crush him because he's going to make one amazing one, and it's going to look good, and it's going to feel good for him. But then he's going to miss 4 out of 5. I'm going to win the match if he keeps doing that. So let's go with that. I'm pretty happy with those odds. And I was right. I won the match, right? But little nuanced things like that, you don't expect them all the time, but they do certainly exist, and they're quite common, right? When it's here, he makes winners. When it's open, he misses. So give him more there. Just feed it to him. Let him miss for you, right? This is what elite athletes do understand that a lot of you guys don't, right? It's little things like these that make a big difference. And it's not like elite athletes are a different human being. They just understand these sort of things better and they can play on it. And every time I hit a good first serve, he gives me a short ball. Let's pummel the pressure on him. If you can win the point on the serve or on the third ball, great. If you don't, just keep going at him. He doesn't have the consistency that you have, right? Just keep hustling, keep going. This is what ultimately got me the match, right? So if you're someone who's, deals with those emotions, pretty much everyone, you deal with those emotions before a match that you get nervous, you don't know how to deal with it, you don't know how to warm up, you don't know how to find solutions in a game and use your skills to win. I hope this video helps because this is precisely what I wish I could tell my, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old self. In a nutshell, this has been, in my mind, this has been killer. This has been fantastic. So these are the exact same mechanisms that I use to, that work for me to win matches. I always manage to beat those players that are just above my level, and just below. And it's no coincidence because it consistently happens. So here you go. Let me know how you guys found this, as well as what you struggle with and what content you would like to see more of.